Imagine a queen, draped in gold, sitting on a jewel-encrusted throne. The world sees elegance, power, and perfection. But beneath the silks and jewels, her body is decaying. Her skin peels in secret. Her breath is laced with rot. And her courtiers whisper because no one dares to say it aloud. The queen is dying, slowly, painfully, and no one knows why. This is the hidden reality behind some of Europe's most powerful monarchs. From mysterious skin disorders to inherited deformities, today, we're uncovering the secret diseases that plagued royal women, often hidden behind fans, veils, and silence. These are not fairy tale queens. These are real women who suffered in silence, and whose illnesses shaped the very course of history. Queen Elizabeth I of England is remembered as the powerful virgin queen, a master of diplomacy. But by the end of her life, her regal image was crumbling. Quite literally. Elizabeth suffered from severe dental problems, a condition referred to at the time as black tooth. Historical records and letters from foreign ambassadors noted that her breath was very bad, and her teeth blackened and duked. In an age before dental hygiene, this was not uncommon. But Elizabeth's condition became so severe that she refused to open her mouth in public, speaking through clenched teeth and relying on heavy makeup and veils to maintain her image. It is believed her diet, heavy in sugar imported from the New World, contributed to rampant tooth decay. Combined with the absence of effective dentistry, she eventually lost many of her teeth. A Spanish ambassador once noted that her speech had become nearly unintelligible in her final years. Elizabeth was not just a queen, she was a symbol of English identity. And yet, behind closed doors, she suffered from infections, abscesses, and chronic pain. Her physicians likely feared operating on her, as even minor procedures often turned deadly in the 16th century. So, her disease was allowed to rot in silence. Mary Tudor, known to history as Bloody Mary, suffered from more than just political opposition. Her body betrayed her in a deeply personal way. After marrying Philip II of Spain, Mary announced to her court that she was pregnant. Her belly swelled, her appetite increased, and her mood changed. All signs of pregnancy. But the baby never came. This happened not once, but twice. Modern historians believe Mary suffered from a condition known as a phantom pregnancy, or psychological and hormonal disorder where a woman exhibits all signs of pregnancy without actually carrying a child. But it wasn't just psychological. Some scholars believe Mary may have had ovarian cysts, uterine cancer, or endocrine disorders that mimicked pregnancy symptoms. Whatever the cause, her inability to produce an heir devastated her. Her subjects whispered, her enemies celebrated, and Mary sank into deep depression. Her phantom pregnancies were more than medical curiosities. They were national tragedies, because in a time when a queen's worth was tied to her womb, Mary's illness became a symbol of failure, weaponized by her enemies, and remembered not with sympathy, but with scorn. Maria Anna of Spain married her own uncle, Ferdinand III, Holy Roman Emperor, and was born into a family infamous for its genetic disasters. The Habsburgs, rulers of Spain and Austria, were notorious for their insistence on marrying within their own bloodline. The result was a dynasty riddled with deformities, mental illness, and mysterious diseases. Maria Anna was no exception. She suffered from severe spinal curvature, infertility, and possibly genetic osteoporosis. Like many Habsburg women, her facial features were described as elongated, with a prominent jaw and drooping eyelids. Symptoms of mandibular prognathism, now called the Habsburg jaw. But her suffering wasn't just cosmetic. Chronic pain, likely from malformed joints and possible scoliosis, left her weak and bedridden for much of her life. She gave birth to only one child, a daughter who died young. Her personal letters speak of fatigue, shortness of breath, and despair. Yet, to the world, she had to appear strong and composed. The image of dynastic purity. Maria Anna's suffering was the result of deliberate breeding choices, politics over biology, and in the end, her body became another victim of royal ambition. Queen Victoria ruled the largest empire in history, but she also carried a secret, a genetic mutation that would destroy generations of royal families. Victoria was the first known carrier of hemophilia in European royalty. Hemophilia is a blood clotting disorder that causes excessive bleeding, even from minor injuries. It passes from mother to son, and Victoria unknowingly spread it through Europe via her children. Her son, Leopold, suffered from constant joint pain and internal bleeding. He died young after a minor fall. Several of Victoria's grandsons, including the Tsarevich Alexei of Russia, inherited the disease, which eventually became known as the royal disease. The irony: Victoria herself was perfectly healthy. She showed no symptoms. Yet through her body passed a genetic time bomb, one that would lead to pain, disability, and early death for many of her descendants. Hemophilia weakened royal houses. It exposed their vulnerability. And during World War I, it became one of the many reasons the public began to see monarchs, not as gods, but as flawed, fragile humans. Empress Elizabeth of Austria, known as Sissy, was the most glamorous woman of her age. Her hair reached to her knees. Her waist measured just 19 inches. She was admired across Europe. But behind her beauty was obsession, and behind that obsession was disease. Sissy suffered from what modern doctors now recognize as anorexia nervosa. She weighed herself daily. She consumed barely 500 calories a day, and she often refused to sit standing for hours to maintain her figure. She wore tight corsets that deformed her ribs. Her servants were forbidden to enter her chambers while she ate, if she ate at all. She endured grueling exercise routines, fencing and hiking in full dress. Even in her 50s, her obsession with thinness wasn't just about vanity, it was control. In a life dictated by court rules, protocol, and political marriages, her body became the only thing she could command. She once wrote, "I want to be free, even from myself." In the end, her beauty became a prison. And, like many women through history, her illness was hidden beneath the surface. Mistaken for discipline, admired as elegance, and only later understood as suffering. Catherine de' Medici was the Queen of France during one of the most turbulent periods in European history. She was feared, respected, and rumored to dabble in poison and prophecy. But Catherine's real secret may have been more physical than mystical. She suffered from chronic gastrointestinal issues and mysterious digestive problems. Letters from her doctors describe rancid breaths, stomach ulcers, and strange swellings. Some modern historians believe she may have had stomach cancer or a chronic inflammatory condition like Crohn's disease. Catherine was also accused of using arsenic, a poison that, ironically, she may have slowly ingested herself. Arsenic was sometimes used as a cosmetic to lighten the skin, but over time, it caused nausea, fatigue, hair loss, and eventual organ failure. Her enemies whispered of witchcraft. Her supporters saw her as immortal. But Catherine's longevity, she ruled well into her 60s, may have been a curse. By the end, she was haunted by visions, plagued by pain, and surrounded by enemies. The queen who outlived her sons may also have outlived her body's ability to endure. History remembers queens as symbols of power, elegance, grace, and influence. But rarely do we ask what price was paid beneath the jewels and brocade. Behind the fans and powder were symptoms, tremors, cysts, rashes, bleeding, decay. They were worshipped and scrutinized, but they were also ignored. Their pain was dismissed as hysteria, their symptoms hidden for fear of scandal, and their diseases, in many cases, never diagnosed at all. The truth is, royal women were not immune to human suffering. They were often more exposed to it. Their illnesses didn't just affect them. They shaped dynasties, sparked wars, and altered the future of entire nations. And so, the next time you see a painting of a flawless queen, remember, the brush may lie, but the body never does.